So grab a pen or a marker and make sure name and last name is on there. And we will correct this together. Any color is fine. And you can make change, you can add whatever you want with that color, right? Like it's okay. Tell yourself what went wrong or check mark, whatever needs to happen. So for A, all we need to figure out is 24,500, multiply by 15%, and we get 3,675. If you get it right, just check mark, but that's worth half a mark. So we take that away, and we start off with 20,825, and I need to see 15% of that again. And you get 31,2375, half a mark as well. Sometimes the percentages change. I'll say 20% the first year, 15% the second year. So you got to read carefully, but most of the time it stays the same. Okay, we're not done yet. So if you add these two together, okay, you get 6,798 and 75 cents. Can you see that? Yeah. So that number needs to be circled under A, saying that is your final answer. So you get a mark for that. So let's say you made a mistake here. That'd be minus half. If I don't see you subtract and do this again, you lose another half. But if I see you adding your 2 years together, you get 1 out of 2 at least, right? Or you could get 1.5 out of 2. Depends on, so you're the teacher today, you decide what you want to do there. To figure out the value of the car, 2 options. You can take year 2 at the beginning, subtract what you lost, and there you have it, right? So 20,825 minus 31,2375, you get 17,701.25. I don't care how you did it, as long as you show me some work there. That is your answer for A. Of course, if you made a mistake here or anywhere in here, this could be a different value. But if I see that you're subtracting, in this case I'm subtracting what I lost second year, right? Then that you still get the mark here. And this is how I mark it. Even though your answer is off, your number is off, I would go, if the work is correct, I would go check, and I go step. So meaning that your step in this B part is correct. And I'm pretty good at investigating, so usually I find out what went wrong, okay? So you're the teacher today, remember that. So a mark out of 3 for 1. Next, Nitish is buying a used vehicle. Okay, we're in the used vehicle territory from a dealer. And this is the price. And he wants to add rust prevention for $350, entertainment package for another $490. The dealer offers a trade-in of $4,500. Calculate the total cost of purchasing the vehicle. So we know we're in the used dealer territory, but I will figure out my sticker price first. So $12,950. If you didn't do this, there's still a chance that you got full marks, so don't sweat it just yet. If you considered this as parts and labor, you'll still be okay. If you put all these things that were added in parts and labor, you're fine. Yeah.
So for the parts and labor thing, could you take away 450 from, 4,500 from the base price?
And then you added taxes? Yeah, you'll still be okay. So it gets a little messy, but as long as you get the same final answer as I do, you're in business. We are in business, okay? So if you did it slightly differently, don't worry about it. The bottom line is that we're taxing the car and the parts 12%, right? So I'm going to first figure out my sticker price. I get, oh, I don't think I did sticker price. So now I need to go off my key and do this free-handed here. So technically your sticker price is this. And then to figure out the used dealer, I go 13,790.99 minus the trade-in. You got to make sure you subtract the trade-in before you do taxes. Okay, so I'm going to take off the trade-in here. So that's the equivalent of 9290.99 times 1.12. And drum roll, 10,405.91. Okay. Questions about this? Let me see if I can quickly. I'll quickly show you. This is probably what some of you did. So I'll just quickly do that here if I can. Okay. Use dealer. You went 12,950.99 minus 4,500 times 1.12. And then there's no safety, there's no lien. So you went plus 350 plus 490 times 1.12, correct? You may have done that. You're going to get the same answer. If I don't, then I'm in trouble here. So this stays together, plus 350 plus 490. That's 840 times 1.12. You're doing 12% taxes twice, right? So it's all good. So this gives you 940.8. And this gives you 9465.11. Still the same answer. Regardless, you get the same answer. If you follow the formula and you perceive this to be parts and labor and you want to add it there, it's going to be all right. That's what I'm trying to say here. Everything jives. All my formulas jive regardless of how you do it. As long as you don't do it twice. Like if you did sticker price, like you added the parts here or the options, and then you do it again in the parts and labor, obviously now you're paying twice, right? That's a no-no, okay? How are we gonna mark this thing? It's worth 2 marks. Well, let's go with minus. Let's think of how could you lose marks. If you did not subtract the trade-in before applying taxes, that would be a -1 today. Right? That is for sure a -1. If you didn't somehow subtract before adding taxes, that's a -1. Everything else I would say is half deduction. Every little mistake, just take off half. So we are out of 2 here, okay? Question 3. Jameer, as a student that would like to purchase a vehicle to commute to and from university. Sometimes there's a context, and that context is important to justify correctly. Explain why she should purchase a used vehicle rather than a new one, okay? You can say it has lower depreciation costs, right? Now, since she's a student, she doesn't have a whole lot of money to waste, right? Like, so it has a lower depreciation cost, so that's the way to go, okay? You can say it costs less to insure. We just talked about this today, so it's you did have a bit of an advantage there. It costs less to insure. You don't pay for a freight. Options are cheaper. You name it. Okay, 1 mark. So if you're somewhat on the right path, I'll give you half today. But if you're not, if you're completely off, then it's 0. Okay. Question 4. That's basically. Okay, I'm going a little fast here. I should maybe slow down a bit. But you purchase a Honda from a friend, right? A friend is what? Hint, hint, private sale. I hope you got that. So we're in private sale territory. That's what your purchase price is. The book value I always like to give it a different color because it may or may not be needed in our calculations. The safety inspection is $60, right? Safety is 60, lien is 40. And needs to pay the following in order to pass safety. So these are parts and labor that are included. So for A, what's the total cost of parts and labor before taxes? So 4 times 65 is $260. 4 times $39.99 is $159.96. 2 times $9.50, that's $19. Okay. We add that up. You get $438.96. That's all I need for A. This is A. If you have that, you get 1.5 marks. If you make any little mistake, take off half. And we won't sweat it today, okay? B, calculate total cost of purchasing after tax. We know we're in use private territory. And so we're going to go step by step, 9,900 plus. Which one is greater? The book value is greater, right? So that's what we're going to get, have to pay PST on. That's why we do this. Okay, the book value is in there. I'm going to mark this a little differently today. I'll explain in a bit. Plus, what comes next on your formula? Safety, right? 60 times 1.05. Plus 40, no, not yet, parts and labor, right? 438, 96 times 1.12, and then the 40. So here's what I'm going to do today to make it easier to mark. I'm going to say, if you have this correctly written in, we're going to give that a mark. If you have this correctly written in, I'm going to give this a half mark because here you have to choose which one and make sure you go times 0.07. So that's why this is worth 1. Half. I'm going to say half as well. And another half for just having the 40 tagging along at the end. So what are we at here? 1, 2.5 already. It's 2.5 already. So use private, the other mark, I'm going to give you one more mark for actually calculating this correctly, actually crunching the numbers. So this part right here, let me just look at my key here, it's 875. This part right here is 63. This part right here is 491.64. And the 40 just tags along. Nothing yet here, nothing yet. But the final, when you add this all up, you should be getting, and write this down, even if you get this wrong, you want to make sure you know what the final answer is. That is your final answer. Yeah?
What if you don't round it properly, but you still get like a similar answer? Say, for example, you rounded up 491.64 and I got 63.
Okay, so no problem along the way. So I would go like this, okay? So you have 63 here, correct? So I would go like this, and then you will see an R next to it. That means half mark off. So when I add it all up, I will then take off half yet at the end. So this is worth 1 mark, actually crunching this. So here's how this works. This is what this mark means, okay? The province does it exactly the same. If you make any mistake here, you lose according to what it's worth here, correct? So let's say you make a mistake here, you somehow have the wrong numbers there, wrong taxes, you lose half. Maybe you make a mistake here, you lose half as well. So you lost a mark. But if we can follow your work from there on in and we get the number you put down, you get this final answer mark. Okay, that's what this 1 mark, it doesn't mean, oh, you did, it has to actually match what you put down. Okay, that's how this works. So 1, 2, 3.5. So instead of 2.5, this is worth 3.5. So you can change that. Go ahead and change it so you know where that comes from. Okay. So now we can add up the total. So 3.5 and 1.5, that's 5. This is 6. Another 2 is 8. And we add another 3 here, right? So that's 11. So the total, just cross it off like this and make it out of 11. And make sure you have a number out of 11 there. And I will collect it, and I put it on, I add it to my spreadsheet.